Hello friends, I am so glad you could join me today because this is a very special video for several reasons. First, it's special for the subject matter because it's such a treat to look back through our older makeup and rediscover some forgotten gems that are definitely worth rediscovering. And the more I thought about it, I realized that there definitely are some similarities between reconnecting with old friends and reconnecting with older makeup. They both immediately create a comfort level, a bond of trust, and a sense of loyalty, as well as bring back memories. In fact, someone once said that finding an old friend is like finding a lost treasure. And I think that certainly can be said about rediscovering old makeup favorites as well. The second reason this video is special is that a wonderful new YouTube friend and I are collaborating on today's topic. I'm very excited to be collaborating with Sharalee of Sharalee's Box of Chocolates for many different reasons. First, she has to be one of the sweetest, kindest people on YouTube, and she's also multi-talented. She's not only incredibly skilled at makeup, but she is also amazingly talented with hair, and she's an outstanding pianist as well. And we're very fortunate that she shares all of these talents with us on her YouTube channel. So if you're not familiar with Sharalee, I hope you'll check out her channel, watch her video on today's topic, and also subscribe to her channel. I've included below a link to Sharalee's channel as well as a link to her video on the topic today. For those of you who are visiting from Sharalee's channel or who are new, let me extend a special welcome. My name is Elise, and I'm a professional working makeup artist who specializes in helping those of us who are older look on the outside how we feel on the inside, with new videos every Thursday. A couple of years ago, I saw a t-shirt with a slogan on it that absolutely cracked me up. It said, "Mirror, mirror on the wall, what the heck happened?" Well, we all know that we can't stop the aging process, but we can adjust the techniques that we used in our 20s and 30s so we can look like the very best version of ourselves now. So if this approach sounds interesting, I hope you'll join our wonderful family of subscribers on this channel before you leave today. With that said, let's jump into today's topic. As I'm sure you can tell, I've already filled in my eyebrows and applied eye primer all over my lids up to my brows using two old favorite products, Anastasia of Beverly Hills Eyebrow Duo Powder and Urban Decay's Eye Primer Potion in Eden. These are two products I'll absolutely never be without. The ABH eyebrow powder is wonderful because it's just the right consistency to easily glide on, and it's an eyeshadow duo with two colors, so you can customize the color for your eyebrows. Even though it is a bit pricey, it will last a very long time. And in fact, just this morning, I hit pan for the very first time on one of the colors, and I think I've had this product for at least 2 years. This is the color medium brown. And by the way, I will include links to all the products I'll be talking about today in the description box below under Show More. The Urban Decay Eye Primer Potion in the color Eden is very special to me because it does two things that are especially important for older eyes. First, as we get older, some of us experience hormonal fluctuation, which can cause overactivity of the oil glands around our eyes and around our nose. So eye primer keeps excess oil at bay so there's no creasing or smudging of our eyeshadow, which, as we all know, is not a particularly good look. I also often recommend using the primer on the nose if you have a nose like mine that looks shiny about 2 minutes after I apply powder. The second reason that eye primer can be important for us is that as we get older, the skin gets thinner in our eyelid area, and we often develop some kind of discoloration on our eyelids. Veins may show through, as they certainly do on my eyelids, or some areas may be darker or redder than other areas of our lid. So choosing an eye primer that matches our skin tone rather than one that is clear and doesn't conceal discoloration can really make a difference. In fact, even if I'm heading out the house and not wearing eyeshadow, I'll often just put on eye primer because it brightens up the whole eye area and really helps my eyes to look a lot better. Now, let's get to the fun of eyeshadow. I pulled out an eyeshadow palette that came out a couple of years ago that I think I've only used a very few times, and I'm not sure why, because I absolutely love the color story. It's Huda Beauty's Mercury Retrograde eyeshadow palette, which thankfully is still available. This is the gorgeous outside, and here are the gorgeous colors on the inside. At first glance, most of us will naturally focus on the top row because of the brighter colors in that row. So this palette may seem a little bit intimidating and not at all that versatile, but if you look at the rest of the colors, there are really quite a few neutrals. In addition, there's a good range of light, medium, and dark shadows, which is also helpful in creating a wider range of eyeshadow looks. Today, because of what I'm wearing, I'm going to focus on the violet and purple colors. First, I'm going to apply a light color all over my eyelids, which helps the eyes look bigger. To do this, I always use and will not be without a highlighter duo from Laura Geller, which is called her Baked Highlighter Duo, and the color is French Vanilla. I'm going to use the French Vanilla on my eyelids and will later use the other color, Portofino, as a highlighter. Although she no longer makes a duo with Portofino in it, she does have a duo that teams French Vanilla with a similar color to Portofino called French Kiss. This duo looks beautiful on those with cool undertones to their skin. And for those of us with warm or neutral undertones, she has a duo with the colors French Poodle and French Almond. So here's the Laura Geller duo I have with French Vanilla and Portofino. As you can see, the French Vanilla is almost all used up because I use this every time I apply makeup. I also like to use the French Vanilla color under the arch of my brows to lift my eyes and on the inner corner of my eyes. So I'm going to go ahead and apply it now. I'm using a denser, thicker brush so I can apply more product more quickly and easily across my entire eyelid area. And really what you want to choose for your eyelid area is a color that's maybe one shade lighter than your actual skin tone. So if you have a deeper skin tone than mine, you would want to use a slightly deeper color. And I'm going to apply it under the arch of my brow using a slightly smaller brush, which makes it a little bit easier to be more precise in my application. And then on the inner corner of my eyes also. Someone once described this area as like a cave, and it is because it's so dark. I bring it into the inner corner and slightly up and below. Next, I'm going to go in with the color Momentum slightly above my crease area. And then when I have less color on my brush, I'll carry the color up to just below my brows. This will create a nice gradation of color going from a darker color right above the crease to a lighter color as I go toward my brows. And this is the color Momentum. This is a beautiful soft color. I really love it. And I think you can see just a little bit of a differentiation happening as I apply it. It's somewhat close to my skin tone, but it is warmer than my skin tone. And now that I've used most of the product on the brush, I'm just going to carry that up higher just to the area where I applied the lighter French Vanilla color under my arch. I don't want to cover up the French Vanilla, but I want to bring this color all the way up to it. And I'm looking off to the side because I do need a magnifying mirror to apply this. Next, I'm going to deepen that area above the crease with just a very small amount of the deeper peach color called Utopia. And then I'll carry it up toward the brow as I did with the color Momentum. This is the deeper peach color Utopia. So I'll start in the middle of my crease just to deepen that, and then carry it up. And as you can probably tell with a fluffier brush like what I'm using, it disperses the color a little bit more lightly. And then as I have less color, I'm going to bring it down toward my nose. And then I want to just blend it out so it looks even more dispersed. For the crease area, I'm going to apply the medium violet color called Libra and also put it on the outside 1/3 of my eyelid. But as I apply it, I'm going to carry it straight across my eye rather than follow the contour of my eye down. This application method helps lift the eyes. This is the color Libra that I'll be using. I'm going to start here right in the crease, and I'm going to go straight across. And I'm just going to pat it on the outer third of my eyelid. This is such a beautiful color. And then I'm going to do some blending. I heard someone say once that you should blend and blend thoroughly. And then when you think you've blended enough, to actually go in and blend a little bit more. And I think that's probably pretty wise advice. Since I want to deepen the outer area of the eyes to give them more dimension, I'm going to mix together the medium violet color called Libra, which I just used, with the darkest color in the palette, which is a deep purple called Vortex. Mixing these two together will keep the color from getting too dark. I'll apply this color to the very outer corner of my lid and to the outer corner of the crease, creating a backward 7, which helps lift the eyes. I'll also use a thicker, denser brush to pat the color on. You can certainly see that this is a little bit denser brush. I also love it because it's angled. It's from Real Techniques. It's called an Instapop brush, and unfortunately, I think they've stopped making it. But sometimes it is possible to find it in other places on the internet. I'm just going to pat this on the outer lid area, and then I'm going to flip it around and use the angle to get into that outer crease area. That's why it's so handy. Deepen it just a little bit more. And as you can see, I went straight across there, and then I'm bringing it down to create that backward 7. As you can see, I'm also holding my brush toward the end, and that makes a lighter application. Then it's time to do some more blending. Then one thing I like to do to make sure my eyeshadow looks the same on both eyes is to slightly close my eyes and tilt my head back and look into the mirror. And by having the eyes mostly closed but still being able to see out of them, I can tell if it looks even on both eyes. I think we're okay. For a final touch on one of my eyes, I'm going to apply 2 of the beautiful shimmers from this palette. I'll apply the lightest shimmer, which is a pink called Cosmic, on the inner part of my eye, and a beautiful violet color called Ultraviolet on the middle of the lid. And I'll keep the other eye all matte. Then I'd love to hear your thoughts on which eye you like better, the one with shimmer or the one that's all matte. If we're going to be applying shimmer eyeshadows, I always recommend doing our eye makeup first, since it's almost impossible to avoid some eyeshadow fallout landing below our eyes. And since the shimmers in this palette do tend to create more fallout than some other palettes that I've used, I'm going to spray a little Urban Decay All Nighter setting spray on my finger and then pick up the eyeshadow with that finger to apply it. This application technique can help curtail a little bit of that eyeshadow fallout. So here's my Urban Decay All Nighter setting spray. And I'm first going into this lighter pink color called Cosmic. That just on the inner corner. And this is the color Ultraviolet, which I'll be using on the middle of my lid. These are such incredibly gorgeous colors. Then I want to take a little bit more of the pink and then just make sure that these kind of glide into each other. There's no harsh definition between the two. Now that we have one eye with all matte shadow and one eye with shimmer, I'd love to know which eye you like better. The one with shimmer on the lid or the eye without shimmer on the lid. I'll do a quick close-up so you can take a look. For a softened eyeliner look, I'm going to use the deepest color Vortex as my eyeliner and apply it with a thin angled brush. Applying eyeshadow with a brush as eyeliner makes eyeliner application a whole lot easier. And if you prefer using a regular eyeliner, rubbing an angled brush against a standard eyeliner to pick up color, and then using the angled brush to actually apply the color, can make the application easier as well. So I'm going in and applying the color Vortex, the deep purple, as close as possible to my lashes, and then bringing it up slightly at the end. And you don't have to do one solid line all the way across. It's a lot easier to just do some little brush strokes all the way across. I'm pulling the eye slightly taut just so I'm not dealing with as much texture. Now I'm going to take my wipe and I'm going to go under the eye and just follow that lower lash line up. And that's where we want our eyeshadow to end. And as you can see, I picked up quite a bit of color by doing that. I'm going to curl my eyelashes and apply mascara next. Since I have very sensitive eyes, unfortunately, there are very few mascaras that I can actually use that don't irritate my eyes. But my all-time favorite mascara for sensitive eyes is Tarte's Lights Camera Lashes. However, if I didn't have sensitive eyes, I'd go with a really excellent drugstore mascara from L'Oreal, their Lash Paradise Mascara. I'm going to go ahead and curl my lashes and apply my mascara off camera, and I'll be right back. Now, onto the face, starting with face primer. This primer is really an old favorite. In fact, it may be the very first primer I ever used, and I still love it. It's from makeup artist Eve Pearl's makeup line, and it's her Priming Moisturizer treatment. I do love how moisturized my face feels after using this, and it also has some really good for the skin ingredients. Just going to dab some on. I just love the feel of this primer. It has a little bit of a scent, but I actually kind of like it. It's not overwhelming at all. For my foundation, I'm using an old favorite from Anastasia of Beverly Hills. It's her Luminous foundation, which has a lovely radiant finish to it. And I'll use Eve Pearl's wonderful buffing brush to really help it melt into the skin. I always like to shake my foundation first. And this is a pump. I'm going to apply it first in the areas where I need the most coverage. And then blend it in. And bringing it down onto my neck area. As you can see, this definitely gives a more luminous finish to the face. Now, if you didn't want quite such a luminous finish, you could always mix it with a matte foundation to tone down the luminosity a bit. And then, of course, you can always use powder, as I will do in the T-zone, to make that area less luminous. To cover up a few stubborn age spots, I'll be dotting on Laura Mercier's Flawless Fusion Ultra Longwear Concealer, which is an old favorite that I also love. I have some age spots over here, especially a big one here, although this one has gotten a lot lighter because of a serum that I've been using from Kiehl's. And I'll include the name of that serum in the description box, because it really has made a difference. I got it as a sample during the Sephora sale in November, and I was really pleasantly surprised by what a good job it did of toning down those age spots. Before applying contour, blush, and highlighter, let's finish up the under eye area. To help with dark circles under my eyes, I'm using Colorscience's Total Eye 3-in-1 Renewal Therapy. It not only comes in several different peach colors to color correct, but it also helps depuff the under eye area, and it contains a mineral SPF of 35. And I also love the applicator, which has a metal tip, which is extremely cooling and comfortable to the under eye area. This is what the Colorscience product looks like. You can apply it with the metal tip. I like to just dot it on with my fingers first and then sort of spread it out with the metal tip, because that feels so good on the eye area. Now you can see this is a peach color, and that really helps color correct sort of those purplish, sometimes bluish under eye area lines. And a little goes a very long way. You hardly need any at all of this, which is also nice. Oh, it feels so good against the skin. On top of this corrector, I'm going to dot a little e.l.f. Hydrating Camo Concealer, which is a slightly lighter color than my foundation. And then I'll press on a very small amount of my Maybelline Lasting Fix Banana Powder to keep the under eye area from creasing. Since this e.l.f. Camo Hydrating Concealer has a really big doe foot, I'm just going to take a little bit on a Q-tip and put it over the corrector. I'm just going to dot it on and then just press it in with my finger, because I don't want to disturb the corrector underneath. And this will brighten up that under eye area. And then I'm going to take just a little bit of my Maybelline powder and press it in to prevent creasing. Just gently press it in. Now I'm going to add a little bit of eyeliner underneath my eyes, just on the outer 1/3, and I'm going to use a slightly lighter color than I used on the top for eyeliner. Just on the outer 1/3, and I'm going to bring it up as I get to the end of my bottom lash area. Just bring it straight up along that angle, again just to lift the eye a bit. I'm using a little bit of Libra, the violet color that I used earlier, and mixing it with Hot Mess, this color. I'm taking just a wee bit of Vortex and putting it just on the very outer edge. Bringing this color up slightly and then just gently pressing it in. To contour, I'm using the wonderful e.l.f. Cream Contour Palette, which I've used and loved forever. It works wonderfully well because it's so creamy. And because it's so creamy, I'm going to go ahead and apply just a little bit with my fingers and then blend it in with a brush. I'm combining the dark color on the top with the darker color on the far left on the bottom. I'm just going to put this under my cheekbone area. You can find that by just doing that fish face look. Then I'm going to dot some here in this area to help make the jawline look a little bit tighter, and put some around the top of my forehead area so this all kind of comes together. Then when I brush here, I'm going to be lifting. And this is light enough, it gives a little bit of definition without looking harsh. And then after blending it in, I'm going to bring it down underneath my jawline. Take it from a backward C into a backward 3. And I'm going to tone down that center section of my T-zone using my Laura Mercier powder. To make sure I've thoroughly blended in the contour, I'm taking my foundation brush and just going over the edges, just to make sure there are no harsh lines. The blush that I'm going to be using is one of my all-time favorites, which for some reason has been buried at the bottom of my makeup drawer. In fact, I plan to order a couple of more colors from this particular brand. It's Flower Beauty's Flush Bomb in the color Bubbly, which is a beautiful cool pink. It has a wonderful gel-like texture, which is so easy to blend in. I'm just going to dot it on because, as we all know, blush can go wrong very quickly if we apply too much. So it's always a good idea to tap on just a little bit, since we can always build up the color by dotting on a little bit more. Dotting it on also prevents disturbing the foundation, which is underneath. This is what the Flower Beauty product looks like. And here's what the shade Bubbly looks like. I'm just going to dot it in the center of my cheekbone, going up toward the temple, which helps lift the face. And I'm just going to dot on a little bit more. Such a pretty color, and it's just so nice and light. It creates a really lovely, just soft flush. And as you can see, it just blends in like a dream. The lighting when we do YouTube videos kind of makes everything sort of disappear under these bright lights, but when I look in person, I can see a lot more blush than you're probably seeing right now. I'm going to go back to my Laura Geller Baked Highlighter Duo to use the color Portofino for my highlighter. The method of application with this highlighter makes quite a difference, so I'll apply it 2 different ways so you can really see the difference between the 2 application methods. I'll use a brush like this to get a very light, soft look first. So this side is the Portofino color. And I'm just going to brush it on, and I think you can see a nice soft glow coming from the highlighter applied that way. To get a much stronger glow, I'm going to apply it with this paddle brush that comes with it. I think you can see immediately the stronger glow that creates. So just to soften that a bit, I'm taking my Real Technique sponge and I'm just going to go over it a bit. As you can see, that toned it down a bit. Dampened makeup sponges are really amazing makeup tools because they can really help our makeup look flawless in so many different ways. Our final step will be lipstick, and because I have some of those fine little lines around my mouth, which seem to be a magnet for lipstick and gloss, I'm first going to apply concealer around the edges of my mouth, and I'll stretch out my mouth when applying it to better fill in those fine lines. I'll be using Maybelline's Age Rewind Concealer, which is a long time old favorite. And then I'm just going to blend it in. I'm next going to use a product that I've never stopped using since I first tried it because I have not found anything else like it on the market. It's L'Oreal's Age Perfect Lip Liner. And I love this lip liner because it's a multitasker if you have an issue with lipstick that feathers. It not only comes in 8 beautiful colors to line the lips, but it also contains ingredients that help create a barrier around the edge of our lips so lipstick doesn't migrate into those pesky little fine lines. But I do hope at some point L'Oreal will make an automatic version of this lip liner that won't need to be sharpened. I'm going to be using the color Perfect Burgundy. And a final step I'm going to take to help prevent lipstick feathering is to apply a matte lipstick first, since matte lipsticks are much less likely to feather. But over the matte, I'll apply a satin lipstick and some gloss to make my lips look fuller. I'm going to be using this matte lipstick from L'Oreal, which unfortunately I don't believe is still available through L'Oreal, but you may be able to find it in other places on the web. It's called At the Drop of a Matte. Over the matte lipstick, I'm going to apply this Milani satin finish lipstick called Violet Volt. Since I want to deepen it just a little bit more, I'm going to take one other slightly darker lipstick. It's from Huda Beauty and it's called After Party. This is really a beautiful metallic lipstick. Unfortunately, my old favorite lip gloss from CoverGirl has been discontinued, so I'll be using Huda Beauty's Metallic Strobe Lip Gloss in the color Mystical, which unfortunately I think is also being discontinued because it's been on sale both at Sephora and on the Huda Beauty website. I think you can see what a huge difference adding gloss makes to brightening up that lip area. Let's take one final look at the eyes now that I have eyeliner on and mascara, and I'd love to know what you feel is the look that you prefer, the one with shimmer or the one with matte. So we now have the final look using some wonderful products that are old favorites that I definitely won't let get buried again at the bottom of my makeup drawer. If you enjoyed this video, I do hope you'll give it a thumbs up, and in the comments section below, I hope you'll share some of your old favorite makeup products that you plan to reconnect with in 2022. And I also thought it might be fun to share a goal or adventure that you're planning for this new year. Since we lost our beautiful golden retriever rescue girl, Lucy, almost 4 years ago now, and we miss her so very much, we plan to adopt another golden retriever sometime this coming year. She brought so much joy into our lives, and there wasn't a day that went by that we didn't play with her and laugh. Until next Thursday, I wish you good health and happiness and hope you have a fabulous rest of your day. Take care.